will not be able to touch it until February 6th. 2 whole months. Hey guys, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel, and guess what day it is? Woo! Okay, it's not actually that day. It's actually the 4th, but I'm starting early. So for NaNoWriMo, I was rewriting a story, Project Purple. It's pink. Don't worry about it. So this is technically the first or second draft, depending on how good or bad my zero draft was. So I've told this story twice now, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to make my notes, and I'm gonna start working on it again. I'm so excited. But that means that today's video is just going to be a reading vlog, a rereading vlog, a figuring out what doesn't work in Project Purple, what does work, and how I can make this story better. So let's get right to it. Ah! Ooh! I bet this looks pretty with all the flowers. Hold on. It kind of looks like the same color. So pretty. I have my coffee ready and it's now time. Ah, the first page. Oh my gosh, I've literally only finished the first page of this reread, but I forgot how much I love the voice of this character. This is one of the few times I'm writing like a YA contemporary that's told from first person point of view. Oh, there's something so fun about that because I feel like the characters get to breathe even more life into the story because it's truly them telling the story too. But anyways, what I was so excited about is that not only do I get a kind of fun introduction, but like I mentioned the kidnapping at the very end of this first page. I am on top of it. It's good so far, yay! The great thing about liking the first page is that because I'm gonna have to reread this story so many times, it's always nice to start out positive. I'm on page 13. I can already see that there's gonna be some phrases that I use too much. What's interesting for me is that they're always unique to the story. Oh, but yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That being said, all the rest of it, still loving, so. Time to move on to the next page. Also, there's a stat I still need to fill in. Ah. I finished my cappuccino, so it's time for some more drip coffee. And we're back. You know, the other thing I realized is that it's not until page 15 that I actually ever say the main character's name, which is Jenny, which is something that I wanted to change. Do I still want to change it? That's really going to be the question. Because when I read it, I didn't think anything about it other than, oh, I should probably say this name sooner than page 15. Oh well, I'll make a note and then that's it. Question marks. Change in scenery. The pup wanted to go out. All right, puppy, you first. No. Good job, puppy. I always like having HGTV on in the background because it's just something I can look up and see pretty houses and yay. Unlike when I'm writing, which I think is interesting, I tend to have the sound completely off when I'm reading. The writing brain, I'm able to shut stuff out for some reason, but the reading brain, I'm totally not. Okay, back to it. I just finished chapter 46. Page 46. And this is the part where they are free. They're free. They are no longer kidnapped. Jenny has freed her and Prince Augustine, and soon they're about to be at the hospital, but this is the moment where it kind of concludes Act 1, I would say. So page 46 of, how many pages do I have? 173. Is that a reasonable amount for Act 1? Anyways. That's what we got. And so far, I'm still really liking the story. There are parts where I'm gonna have to do some work, but not a whole lot of work, to be honest. Like this, it really isn't requiring a whole lot of work. I'd like to remind myself of this when I get closer to the end of the book, which I know will require more, a lot more. Remember when it was fun? Remember when it was easy? It won't be here. It's also perfectly timed because my last note here coincides with the end of this Act 1. So now it's practically a whole new page. Ooh, look at that. So warm. It's time for some herbal tea now. This is hibiscus flavored. Oh my gosh. So what I love about this story is just that the voice is so strong and it's so funny despite all the awful things happening. 4 paragraphs. I've had an audible chuckle at like different spots. It's great. Yay. This is what's gonna make up for all of the places where I have timeline errors later. So I'm on page 80. I'm at the point where her night terrors are coming up, and I actually had an interview with a psychologist, which will be up at some point. It was such a long chat and so like heavy and dense and informative that I'm having a little bit harder time editing it, but it will be up soon-ish. So I'm looking at this through different new eyes, knowing what I know now about PTSD and some of the symptoms. I actually think I did a decent job, but there's definitely stuff that I can continue to layer in and do a little bit better than I did before. So it's exciting to see ways that I can improve the story already in this read through, besides, you know, just all the notes I'm taking. All right, back to reading. I think I'm gonna stop when I'm on page 86 because that will be about halfway through and that'll just be good enough for today.
I'll split the bill and we all are each got your debit cards. Then this, I guess,
So I'm at the part of the story, what am I, page 86, where I'm, how do I want to say this? So some of the really fun things about this story, because the main character is the one writing the book, is that she, throughout the novel, references things to come and then pulls back a little bit or gives a little snippet and then pulls back into the present in which she's telling the story. So it's a very interesting dynamic, but what I've gotten to the point of is that in the past 10 pages or so, there are a couple things that I reference that I never bring up again. And I either need to make those scenes not as big of a deal so that it doesn't matter that they're not referenced again, or I need to put some more into the back end of the novel. I guess I'll finish reading and I'll figure out what the back end of the novel looks like, and that'll tell me. Okay, so a solution to read for now. Okay. So I've finally gotten to one of the parts where I know I'm going to need beta reader feedback to tell me something, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't know. I'm on page 112, 113. So basically, Jenny finally breaks down to her parents about all of the feelings she's kind of been keeping inside. And one of the things she brings up is her fear about a lot of things after this accident, but also her fear that the guys haven't been found and that they could still be out there. The people that kidnapped her could be anywhere. And that's a fear. And I haven't talked about those men since the kidnapping, really, because there's been so much more going on in the story. And actually reading it up to this point, so far I haven't thought too much of it. It hasn't been a problem, I'll say that. But then on page 113, so literally one page later after she drops, you know, this bomb, is her and Augustine on this talk show, and the talk show host says, what does he say? Does it make you feel better that they found at least one of the men? So it's just kind of a back-to-back thing, and I don't know if that's too much. Also, Jenny memorized what the men looked like, and he is not one of the men. So that's just, you know, an interesting thing, and it leads in through the rest of the book. But so we have like a 50-page chunk where they're not really talked about much, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, bam, bam. Yeah, this is where I'll need beta reader feedback. It's cream soda, don't worry. So I remember thinking one of the things I found so interesting about this story last time when I was rereading it before the rewrite during NaNoWriMo, lots of reads there, was that it was remarkably good still. Does that make sense? I'm having to take a lot of notes, like this is the second page of notes and it's almost full, but there's such little things, and some of them are even just like, oh, this is actually really funny, or like expand on this because it's funny kind of thing. The story is really good. Even as the writer, there's parts of it where I'm like, ooh, that hits emotionally where I wanted it to. And because I've had that space, I can read it like a reader. So it's just been really cool. And I'm hoping this is like the beginning of my new writing process. I don't know if this is unique to the story or because I've become a better writer. Getting close to the end. Let's see if I can do it. Also another sip of my drink. Prince Augustine and Ginny are like kind of back on friendly terms again, which I'm so excited for because I love their dynamic together when they're kidnapped. And I like the emotional strain in between that time and now, but oh, I'm so glad they're friends again. All right. Page 128. I knew it was gonna happen. The dreaded timeline errors at this point are so glaringly obvious. It's not like plot-wise they're a problem, it's just that I use Thanksgiving as an anchor point for things, but I kept referring to it all over the place. So I was like, okay, the Monday after Thanksgiving, but then I'd mention Thanksgiving break. And then I have an after Thanksgiving, but we're not even at Thanksgiving yet. Ugh, why? Clearly, I just need to make an Excel spreadsheet, which I will do. I have had to do for stories before. I recommend it. I've even helped friends work through their stories by making a spreadsheet for them and being like, this is when each chapter is supposed to be in like the timeline. So anyways, but I have to do it for this one and I haven't done it yet. So good lesson to learn. Thank you, Reread. Also, I'm officially at 1 page, 2 page, and I've started the 3rd page with my timeline errors. Timeline errors! Okay, my only other serious thought as we're on page 145 is that it's only 173 pages, and I feel like I am nowhere near close enough to the end yet. Like, how did I manage to wrap this up in 30 pages? Oh. I'm worried now that means that I probably rushed the ending, but again, I guess I can't find out until I read it, so what am I doing? The end. So now the only other thing worth mentioning before I wrap up this vlog is that I have officially given this project, Project Purple, to my beta readers. I had been waiting to make sure that it was as good as I thought it was, as I remembered it was before I handed it off. So I think it is at that point where I'd most benefit from having beta reader input before I proceed any further. And I just want to reinforce that this is earlier in the process than I usually do it, but I think it's just because the story is better quality than the stories I usually have at this point in the drafting process. So yeah, oh my gosh, it's happening. This is great. And my focus now in between this time before I receive my beta reader feedback is going to be setting up the timeline in an Excel spreadsheet, making those notes in the Scrivener file, just like highlighting the portions where I'm like, okay, I know for certain this needs to be fixed. And I think that might be it, and figuring out the whole last name situation. Please do comment down below and let me know if you've started working on the same project you were working on during NaNoWriMo 2018. Let me also know what your reread process is, if you take notes and how you focus on those notes, and if when you've taken those 2 months breaks, like what you remember, because I remembered there being timeline issues. I'd honestly forgotten that I hadn't figured out a last name for her, but I did. Totally didn't remember. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all with a new video very soon. Bye! Hey guys, I'm Kate. Puppy, what you doing? Are you gonna sit or no? No, there we go. Good job.